Hey, welcome back to the Million Dollar Body Podcast, the intersection of physical success, time, freedom, and adventure. I'm Nate Palmer. Have you ever felt like you didn't have time to prioritize your health and fitness, that you were so busy with your career, with your family, with all the other things on your plate, that you did not have time to actually sit down and do the little steps, the nitty gritty between your cardio, your weight training, eating the right foods? If you have, then you're in the right place, because today's guest is Dr. Cameron Call. Cameron has been running the Horizon Chiropractic Center. He's an amazing chiropractor out in Phoenix. He's won the top chiropractor like 4 or 5 years running right now. He's dad of 4 beautiful children, and he's been working out for a long time. 3.
Okay.
It's a surprise for someone else. Hey, guess what? Cam, welcome to the show. Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Could we jump in and talk a little bit about, like, you're a physically fit dude. You've been working out for a long time. You own a business that requires you to be at the top of your game physically. Can you tell us a little bit about what training and nutrition has kind of looked like? What's your evolution been over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed exercise, and it's always been really important in my kind of daily routines. I've just kind of constantly been looking for something that fits my goals, my lifestyle, something that's sustainable. And I have spent so much money, time looking for that sort of thing. And it's been kind of a hell of a ride. And I've spent time doing the video workouts that, I don't know if I should name the specific companies, but
Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's just been kind of a long journey figuring out what fits and what meets my needs.
So what have been some of the considerations where you've run into something and you're like, this looks good on the surface, and man, it let me, like, it fell a little bit short because of the considerations that I have as a business owner, as a dad, as a busy person?
Yeah. So I am a sucker for buzzwords. I am an advertiser's dream. And so if there's a certain phrase in someone's advertising, I will fall for it probably 9 times out of 10. And so I would look for things that really just sounded good, like, oh, I want that. And so I would try it, and it would end up being a bunch of BS and not work out the way I wanted. And so things I was looking for were things that were, everyone cares about convenience, but I also care about results, and noticeable results, and how I feel. And those were the things that I was trying to all be at a certain level that, and things that weren't causing injury. So finding that balance was tough.
So real quick, what are those buzzwords again? Just for a friend, I'm asking. Okay, so it's tough to find things that had that good balance of convenient enough to that you can stick to them, powerful enough that they actually cause noticeable results, not just something where you're like, do I look cooler in the mirror? Does this make my tattoo look better? But also exactly. Are not just completed utter beatdowns that wreck your body for 3 weeks, because you can't have a back injury as a chiropractor.
Exactly. I got to work. So.
Right. And I've had those back and neck injuries, and you don't feel like doing anything, much less standing or adjusting anyone else. So, what did you end up finding? What ended up working for you?
Well, for years I was doing the Beachbody workouts. I did P90X. I did Insanity, the T25, because it was shorter and it made it easier. But those were great because they were convenient. They were done at home. Sometimes they were short, and I would feel different. I'd feel sore, but also I kept hurting myself. I eventually tried CrossFit, and I love CrossFit. I don't want to talk too much about that because I still love it, but still, even there, there were pieces that were missing, and I knew that I was missing the realistic approach to food and nutrition. And I would try these various diets, paleo, Whole30, and be super strict for a short time. And it was just miserable. And for me, it wasn't really working or sustainable. Do you want me to share how I met you, Nate? Is this where I can dive into that? Because
let's do it.
I
So shout out to BNI.
Right. So you're a huge part of my journey here, and I mean I've known Nate here for several years, and he's been a pretty good friend of mine, and but I never worked with Nate, and I always thought, oh, I'm good. I'm doing CrossFit. I'm intermittent fasting. I got this, and life has its surprises, and things go crazy sometimes, and I just hit a point in 2021 where I just had some goals that I had never reached before, um, on my own. And again, Nate did use some buzzwords in his pitches online that I loved, and I mean I've been seeing these for years, but never just like thought, I'm actually gonna like talk to Nate about this, and I just decided, like, I've never actually worked with a nutrition fitness coach, one-on-one, and I wanted to see what I could do if I did that. And so that's when I texted you one day, and I was like, hey, I want to work with you. And I loved your approach to helping people that were busy like me, business owners like me, people who were already kind of active and into fitness like me. Um, it became a really kind of logical decision, and I loved that I already knew who you were. And um, I'll I'll stop there for a second in case you have more questions, but I hope I'm answering them.
Yeah, totally. And I wasn't just looking for a shout out here, but I'm super
I
curious
know.
because I know you've been in the space and you've tried a lot of stuff. You mentioned Whole30, you mentioned like paleo. And I think that like a lot of times people are like, well, how's $1 million body program kind of stack up to some of these other ones? And it's kind of a hard question to answer because I feel
Yeah.
like I've done Whole30 before. And for me, that program came down to is if you did not prep like extensively, you did not eat. If you understand plan, if you didn't prep, you didn't eat. And it just because
Yeah.
it was so hard to find things that fit all the minutia that you were looking for, which is why, she doesn't want you to do it for longer than 30 days. It's a good reset and stuff. But
Exactly.
I'm curious because even like phase one of the $1 million body program is pretty stringent. But I like even during that time while you're doing it, I'd still see you posted pictures of like baking stuff with your kids and like getting some cakes and stuff here and there. The churros from Disneyland was a big thing. So like tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
like what about the flexibility enabled you to kind of be like, all right, this is solid for me. This is an easy thing to pursue.
Yeah. So something I really care about too is it has to be um sustainable and like realistic. So something that can easily be adapted to real life. Like I'm not gonna avoid sugar my whole life, or beer, or any, like, I love cake. I love churros. I went to Disneyland, had 7 churros in 2 days. But the so and you're exactly right with the difficulties of some of these other diets, is that unless you do all the prep work before it, it's so hard to keep up with it. And phase one was super strict, and it was hard, but I loved that it eventually got to a point where it wasn't that hard. It became more of a follow these simple principles, and then that opens up so much freedom to other things. So like there was several weeks I avoided sugar to do that sugar detox and the whole thing. And because I'd been eating so healthy during that whole first process, I had a trip planned to Disneyland before I was working with you. I thought, you know what? I've been working hard. I'm not going to stress about eating some churros while I'm at Disneyland. Or hey, I've been doing these workouts and doing great, burning all these calories, eating all these good meats and proteins and veggies. I'm going to bake a cake with my kids. And it wasn't one of those things where like I felt like I had to earn doing that, but I just knew and felt that because I'd been following the system, it wasn't a big deal, and it didn't slow my progress down at all.
Like you
And
came back from Disneyland leaner.
yeah, I came home and I lost weight, and it was so crazy. And I literally had 7 churros, several other things, a turkey leg. I mean, lots of Disney treats, but Yeah, so that was one of the things that I loved about, um okay, here's another testimonial for $1 million body method, but I loved the these the realistic, like it was allowing me to do all these things, and I wasn't hindered in my progress, and I could feel that and see that, and it rocked. So
I love that. All right, thanks for your time today. I'm gonna head out right now. I'm gonna
done.
put this on TV. So Cam, you kind of hit a point though where you were like, all right, I'm as lean as I want to be. Next step is like, you're a big guy, you're 6'5". Next step is like, how much muscle can you put on? So like, what was that like? When did you feel like this is now the next logical step in kind of my progression, my evolution?
Yeah. So I'm one of those people where I like to go big in a lot of ways. And after I was working with you, I realized, wow, like working with the coach is so helpful. And I was so against it for so long. But then just seeing the results I had just in those 16 weeks that we were working together, like I had a six pack show up for the first time in my whole life. And I have been obsessed with that since the time I was like 11. And I just hit a point where I'm like, I want to see what else I can do. I saw how I could get super lean and in great shape, and it felt so good. Um, I could not believe how much weight I lost following the $1 million body method. Didn't think I had any weight to lose. Um, but at one point I had lost 17 pounds. And that was crazy. But also I didn't look like I had lost weight, but I just got really lean. And so I decided, I want to see what else I can do. And um, so I just thought last year, I want to try to do a bodybuilding competition and learn how to do that and see how big I can get naturally by now building muscle, and following a strict program as well. And so I shifted in October last year and started doing things very differently, because it's obviously a whole different intention and goal with the outcomes there. But yeah, it's been fun to kind of shift and just kind of see the differences in what people are doing. And so I love that I've had this experience with doing the CrossFit stuff, and then the nutrition choices to get lean, and now the nutrition choices to get and build muscle. And they're all kind of, it's so different. But it's exciting to follow through. So
Cool. Yeah. And you're not wrong. You definitely don't go small on things. Was this your first tattoo?
this is my first tattoo.
First tattoo is a quarter or a half
Yeah.
sleeve on his arm. So
Right.
I jumped in. I got some little ones, here and there. And no, just a full half sleeve.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go into a straight bodybuilding competition. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to Africa. Yeah, you don't go halfway, brother. So I love
Exactly.
what you just said though about like kind of having tried a couple different methods, because I think this is really, really critical to our evolutions personally, right? Like I don't want someone to be like $1 million body. This is all you can do ever. This is the only thing, right? Like there's a lot of different ways a lot of paths to success. And I think and then doing these like trying Whole30, trying paleo, doing like a muscle building diet where you're eating 6 times per day, doing $1 million body, trying CrossFit, doing like fat loss workouts, doing TRX workouts. It just makes you more well-rounded in terms of like what works best for you. And then once you're done with maybe this goal and you're looking at like you're done with the bodybuilding show and you're looking for like the next thing, you can kind of tinker with where you're like what you've found that worked and what you liked. So I was curious, kind of like, could you break down maybe some of the differences or the things you've noticed, like differences or commonalities between some of the nutrition plans and then even the workouts you've tried?
Yeah. Great question. And this is what I tell people about you all the time. And I hope they call you, but I I'm trying to think where to even begin here.
Putting you on the spot with this question.
I know. So what I'm doing now with the bodybuilding prep, like there's no way it's sustainable. I can't do this forever. And the nutrition plan, I have since tried to stop calling things a diet and I call it my nutrition choices.
Yeah,
That
love
sounds a
that.
lot more positive to me.
Yeah,
So
I'm
my
in control
nutrition,
of this. I
yes, that's
choose
what I'm
this.
choosing. My nutrition choices right now are they're effing hard, and I can't do it forever, but and I'm miserable half the time, but I realize it's for a certain point, and I have certain goals I'm trying to hit for this physique show. But um, I feel like your approach to eating and fitness is so realistic and healthy and normal, and it just logically makes sense. And so I know, like, after I'm done with this, like, I hope I don't become addicted to like seeking the next big thing here and wanting to do this bodybuilding stuff forever. Because I mean, maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll win. I don't think I'm going to win, but um, I also paid for a year membership for the organization because I had to. So maybe I'll do another one. But um, I know that like I'm gonna go back to following your nutrition plan after I'm done here because it's so sustainable, and your thoughts and approach to how to eat healthy when you eat out at restaurants and what to look for in foods, like it's so easy. While I was working with you over the last summer, I went on tons of trips with my kids, and it was so easy to like go to Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or In-N-Out Burger and figure out, okay, I'm gonna eat this, and that's technically it's okay. And I didn't feel like there were any restrictions with anything. And that was what I loved, is that I feel like so many diets out there restrict so many things and make you feel like you can't have this. But with your program, I felt like there was this endless opportunity of combinations of things of, oh, and if I add cauliflower rice at Chipotle instead of regular rice, that's going to be more filling than a salad, and it's going to give me this. And anyway, I loved it. Or your I don't know if you call them ebooks or workbooks or whatever on like approaching alcohol consumption and how to incorporate that into your, because I love just how you approach things in moderation, and living in a way where if you eat certain things throughout the day, you don't have to stress about certain things. And that is so realistic. And I felt like the things I would eat for breakfast and lunch on your program were so easy and just realistic. And I know I keep saying that word over and over again, but I'm like counting down the days till I can get back to that, because this is really hard what I'm doing right now. But 8 weeks to go. So
All right, you got anything you can do for 8 weeks. When I was like doing kind of like more of like a bodybuilding type of nutrition plan as for myself,
yeah.
I ate so much sriracha that I literally cannot eat it right now. I can like put it on small amounts, but like I was burned out on sriracha for like 5 years. I just
Oh
couldn't
man.
even look at it. Sriracha and mustard on everything.
I'm approaching that with Frank's red hot sauce.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Just mix up the hot sauces, I would say, because you don't want to burn yourself out. Like that Frank's is like that nice vinegar. Like that's kind of a staple, the Louisiana red hot. Like, but I just
No.
found one that was really good. It's a habanero garlic sauce. I think it's at Trader Joe's. It's not super hot, but it gives a nice kick, 0 calories, good on a lot of different stuff. So from like Mexican to like Thai food to like
Yeah,
even like chicken and potatoes, I'm putting it on there. So
I'm
I'll,
gonna
I'll
write that
text you a
down.
picture.
Yeah, do please.
Yeah, because I get that. In terms of like the results that you've gotten, and I know you like obviously if you guys aren't just listening to the podcast, if you're not seeing this, Cam is actually bigger than me, and that hurts my feelings quite a bit. But obviously you're doing an awesome job with like just changing your physique and staying dialed into the process, like wherever you're at. So like what impact has getting leaner, building muscle, like kind of upgrading your physique had on these other areas of your life? Between like
Yeah,
parenting or work or like, building your business, like any like carryover that you've seen?
yeah. Um, that is an excellent question. I feel amazing, and just the there were some change. It took a couple weeks, but eventually I had more energy as I was eating a certain way. It regulated my metabolism. My sleep was improving, and because I had more energy, that was improving things I was doing at home with my kids. It improved my relationship with my kids because we were able to connect better, and I wasn't just exhausted after work every day, or on the weekends, and we just have a lot of great times together. At work, I was I was feeling great, and superficially, like, I was looking really good, and so patients would come in and they would notice over time, like, hey, you're looking leaner, and that would motivate them and so people love to seek healthcare from people that seem to be walking the walk, or whatever that phrase is, and so it helped my business in a way. And there's that saying as well, that when you look good, you feel good. And you shouldn't, I mean, there's more important things there too, but like, I looked good, and that made me feel really good. So my confidence was boosting, because here I was, like, I was single back then, so I was dating, and it's like, oh, I look great. And and people cared, and I cared, but more than just the outside, like, all the things on the inside were improving as well. And really, just, I come from a family of, um, the term I like to call it's food anxiety,
Mm.
where we just, our relationship with food is not the best, and we would use food to numb emotions. Um, if we were at a no, I'm not going to name anyone specific in my family here, but if we were all sharing a bowl of, like, chips and salsa, and it was like a race to see who would eat the most before it was gone. If there was a plate of cookies on the table, if the moment those started getting taken away, there was, like, scarcity in the room, and everyone would stress about, oh, well, you got more than me, that's not fair. And so I've had this crazy relationship with food my whole life, and that shifted tremendously, where, like, I now go out to eat at a restaurant sometimes, and I have leftovers. I don't feel this need to finish my entire plate. And so I love that, just on top of the physical results, mentally, um, and probably philosophically too, just my relationship with food has improved drastically, and that has been so worth it. So thank you.
Yeah, man, awesome. I love to hear it. And it's also great to hear that it's like, it's not just physical, and it's not just like quote unquote superficial. I am glad you brought up looking good though, and then what that does for you, because I think as men,
Oh yeah.
sometimes we can get tied up in being like, well, I don't, like, no, it's not about that. It's about how many logs I can lift over my head to build a cabin in the woods. You're like, okay, like,
Exactly.
it's okay to feel happy about how you look. Like, it's okay to be proud of that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think that when you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, Cam, let's go. Like, you just bring a different
Yeah.
energy to whatever you're doing. Like, when you like, because if you do look good, you do feel good, and bring that to the other people around you. Because I think sometimes we think it's just me. I'm the only person who's taking advantage of this. But if you feel better, if you have more energy, you can just show up bigger for the people in your life.
Exactly.
So I love what you said about your kids. I
Exactly.
did have a question though for you, because like you said, come from a family of food anxiety, and I never heard it put that way before. What are you doing with your three kids, in a way that, like, to try to keep them from kind of having that family food heritage? Like, how do you talk to your kids about food? Like, what does that look like in your world?
Good question, because I think about that a lot.
And I got a
Um,
little girl, so we're not quite there
yeah,
yet, but like, some the other day was like, you're getting so big, and I was like, don't talk about her weight.
I know, right? Um, you know, I one thing I love that this whole journey has done with my kids is that they see me exercise. They see me eat vegetables and meat, and all these just healthy foods. And I have one of my sons, he loves to work out with me. When I was doing the TRX workouts every morning, he set a goal to wake up early. He'd come outside and do them with me. And
Awesome.
it was awesome. And so when it comes to food, like, I've never had, I don't think I have a good answer to this question because I haven't had to really say a lot because they have seen me eat certain things and they've just developed eating it too. Like it's nothing hard or crazy. Like I, my kids love kale. I would eat so much kale with my meals, and they like beg for kale now, and I just don't make it a thing. And when there's dessert or if we're having pizza, like yeah, we definitely enjoy it, but it's not like, oh, eat as much as you can before someone else. I just talk to my kids and say stuff like, hey, when you're full, like you can stop, like you don't have to finish everything. And I have noticed that like if we're eating some Oreos or something, which I have not had an Oreo in so long, that sounds so good, but
Well, your biceps are looking good enough that it kind of
right,
compensates.
thank
So
you. But I would offer my kids some treats, and they might have one or two, but then they'll say like, I'm good, I've had too much sugar today, I don't want to feel yucky. And so they'll just like they've noticed
wow.
and been able to figure out on their own just how certain things make them feel. And I think they've developed that just by watching me and seeing how I feel. And I hope it continues. It's been really cool to watch as a dad. So
That's so encouraging. Super cool to hear that. I love what you said about like kind of letting your kids catch you in exercise. Let them catch you eating your vegetables, like rather than just being like, you need to eat more like healthy foods. The other thing that I like, kind of going back to what you said earlier about like, this isn't a diet. These are my nutritional choices. I like the way we talk about food to not be so black and white. I feel like for a while we were really into the clean versus dirty, like kind of thing. And I just hate when people talk about that because then it's like demonizing certain foods. And like you said, pizza's fine. Don't eat it every night, but like when you do have it,
yeah,
enjoy the hell out of it, you know?
exactly.
But like just having where you're talking about things being nutritious or good for your body or like able to like refuel you and then being like, but also like have some Oreos. I think that is like having that balance. Because when I grew up, I was my mom was really on the no sugar, really, really healthy train. So when presented with a sleeve of Oreos, myself and my sisters would be like, yoink, taking this with me and no one else can get it,
Right.
like so a little unhealthy on that side of things. So I really like what you said about that.
Totally.
So Kim, you've had a lot of different experiences here. You've gone through kind of a couple different types of transformations, which I think is super cool. So like, I mean, most people are just looking for a single transformation. They just want to they just want to lose the fat for the last time or gain some muscle and finally feel like really good in their bodies. What would you say to someone who's kind of been sitting on the edge and been like, man, for the last like 2 decades, I have wanted a six pack or I've wanted to accomplish this goal. Like, what would you say to someone who's not been able to hit it yet?
Yeah. There's that quote by whoever it was: insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And if if you haven't done things differently, you're never gonna get what you want. And one thing I had never done was I had never specifically worked with a coach one-on-one. And I was so resistant to that because I thought, no, I'm smart. I went to college and went to chiropractic school. I know how health works. I can do this. No, there is so much power in accountability and someone else that's their specialty, and the encouragement, the you're never I can't even think of the words to say, but it wasn't until I realized, you know, this is something I haven't done, and I had to humble myself and think that, I'm not as big of a deal as I think. I don't know everything. I need help, and that's okay. And and so finding someone who resonates with you, with how you are, and that's the important thing. And I don't think there's one program that is right for everybody. Or one coach that is right for everybody. But I think that there are so many just things to look for. And for me, you were perfect. I'm so glad that I happen to know you. And I'm sorry if this is turning into a raving Nate testimonial, but
I'll take it. Hey,
I think you're effing awesome. I am so glad that I took a chance when I wanted to change, and it just helped me realize that there is so much growth and living and learning to do. So it was so fun.
awesome. Yeah, great advice. I love that because I think, again, as men, sometimes we're like, no, I got this. I'll figure it out. I'll look on YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
you know? And it does, I love that the phrase you use, humbling yourself. Because I do think that like ego can really be the death of a lot of us, or at least the stall our progress when we're like, no, I got it. And then we go back to banging our head against the wall. And I have been there. I was there like 3 months ago before I finally hired a business coach to like help me walk through some stuff. And what do you know? Things are working better now. So
yeah.
Shout out to humility. Really hard to do.
Exactly.
Awesome. Cam, as we wrap up though, man, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. In the last like minute here or so, is there anything else that like in a soapbox you have, anything you want to get off your chest, any advice you want to give to anyone?
Yeah, for anyone who has been listening to Nate's podcasts and his words of encouragement online for a while, and you haven't worked with him, take the dive. He is so easy to work with, so accessible, so fun and real, and it's awesome. I am so glad that I did it. And yeah, you rock, Nate. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, I was hoping you'd like take this chance to be like, and my new book is coming out, but like, I appreciate that. Cam, you're the best, man. I really appreciate you, all the wisdom you dropped. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Can't wait to catch up to you next time.
All right.